DMT World presents The Rambling Rabbit, and I am its host, HappyKB. Hello, once again. It's me. It's HappyKB, the Rambling Rabbit. Welcome, friends. Oh, I need to stand up closer to the microphone, I think. Oh, let me tell ya, it's been a minute since I've sat behind this microphone by myself, not talking to people. I've been having a really nice time enjoying the interviews that I've gotten to sit down and have with some of the people in the community. If you haven't caught those or have not listened to those, take some time and sit down and listen to them. You get to hear some information about people who are in our community and what they're doing and what's going on. That's what we're doing here. We're trying to let everybody have a voice. I want everybody to have a voice, to be able to verbally hear somebody talk about what they're passionate about, or talk about what kinds of things that they're working on or working towards, or feel moved to bring up and talk to me about it, and let everybody else hear about what's going on in these other people's worlds. It's cool. It's very cool. So if you haven't listened to those, I have 3 of them that are between this and the last Rambling Rabbit solo one. So take a minute and listen to it if you haven't. Also, while you're on our DMT World YouTube page, please click the like. I need subscribers. We need likes. We need more interaction. We're trying to get this going and get this launched. I've got lots of plans coming up in the future, and the only way that I can really get it out to everybody is if I need your guys' help. I need the community's help. Tell your friends, have them get on and like us and subscribe to us and find us and listen to us and participate with us and be a part of our community, because that's what we do here with DMT World. We want everybody to be connected. We want everybody to know that we care what they're doing, because we know they care what we're doing. So with that being said, I would like to invite everybody who's listening, and those who potentially in the future will be listening. I'd like to invite you to our website, dmtworld.net. It's a community of people who are like-minded individuals. It's a social network for psychedelic community. It's a place that was designed a couple years ago when Facebook was cracking down on DMT groups, and we decided that we needed to have a place of our own where nobody would censor us and nobody would tell us what we can and can't do. And we welcome you and we invite you to DMT World, which is www.dmtworld.net. I will let you know before you come into that community, there is one rule, and one rule only. That rule is there is no illegal sourcing. Illegal sourcing is the selling and buying and even some trading of illegal substances that are considered that are illegal by federal law of the United States of America. That is the only rule. Don't come in and start dropping your shit on my stuff. Don't come in and start dropping your links to your telegrams. Don't do this. That stuff gets you banned. I know there are some really good people that are out there doing some of this stuff for legit reasons, and I think that's wonderful. We all need the people that are out there doing that, but don't come into my community and do it. It is not federally legal to be able to, across the United States, to do some of this stuff. That goes for cannabis, guys. I know that sucks. I know I've had a few really good people that were in our community that they worked in dispensaries. They knew a lot about this beautiful plant, but you know what? It is not federally legal. Federally, it is not illegal across the full United States of America. And I'm sorry, I have tons of people that are not from the United States of America as well. They're in all different parts of the world, but there's none. We can't do it. We can't talk about it. We can't even drop links to where we can get it, because there are some places that, because like I sit in a non-legal cannabis state. I'm in the middle of the United States. We've got old heads here that just old thinking heads in our government right now. It's quite the battle trying to get things closer to even medical use. It took us it's been 2-3 years since we just got CBD and hemp passed. So like we are stuck way behind everybody else, but it is illegal here. Don't break my rules, guys. I don't like banning people. I will tell you this, there are always other ways. There are many other platforms. There are other ways to contact people and get that information if you need to get it out to people. It's not that I'm opposed to it. I just don't want it on my site. I need to keep my site alive. We need to keep the site up and running. We need to keep this community where it is. It's not a community to go and find stuff. And we can do that all kinds of other places. So please, you come into the DMT world, please respect the number one rule we have. That's what I got. So, other than that, come on in, talk with us. You want to learn some different ways of doing stuff? We are there. We provide that knowledge. That's what that platform is there. It is an information and knowledge platform where we share and we talk and we instruct and we can DIY it all the way. That just come and join us, see what it's about. If it's not for you, then you at least came and you shared your vibe with us for a minute. And that's what the building of that community is. It's built on vibes of every person that has actually come to that community, whether they stayed or not. Vibes. It's all about the frequency and the vibes, friends. So come and join us. Well, it's been a minute, like I said, since I sat in front of this microphone by myself, and I was sitting here trying to think, oh gosh, what was my last episode about? And I sat here and just really racked my brain, because I'm like, oh, I never finished Woodstock 99. Okay, so I did try to sit down and do this couple, I don't know, it was maybe last week sometime, and dang it, I sat here and I couldn't get anything out because, you guys, I couldn't remember where I left my story off at. So I had to actually go back and I had to go listen to my episode, at least the end part of it, the Woodstock part of it, because, I don't go back and listen to these if I don't have to, because, guys, I do not like the way that I sound at all recorded. It's really hard. So it's hard for me to go back and listen to my own things. I don't like the way I sound when I'm singing. I don't like the way that I sound when I'm talking. So this is also why you get a lot of mistakes or blurbs or like words that just kind of, sometimes I just say things that are just make you kind of go, what? But that's why you get some of it, because I don't really go in and like fix stuff. I guess that's what I got to say. I don't go in and fix stuff. I don't know what that actually means, but so there's something happening down here. I can't see. Oh, there it is. So I did, like I said, go back and listen to me talk about Woodstock 99. And it was really kind of interesting. It was really fun because it's always fun to go back into memory land and like reminisce. And then I sit there and I think, gosh, okay, what else? Where am I? Well, I left off making it back to the tent on the second day of Woodstock. And I fell asleep to Metallica, Inner Sandman. I really honestly can't tell you how long I slept, and I'm not really even sure if I actually slept sound, because we were tripping balls. We were rolling hard. We were it. We were doing it. So when I made it back to the tent, we all just kind of crashed. I just remember it was super hot. Oh, it was super hot. So hot. It was miserable. Kind of reminds me of the weather, what we got going on here right now in Kansas right now. This last week and a half, we've been in triple digits. We hit 111 on Sunday, which is a world record. It's a record for Kansas. It's the hottest temperature's ever been. And I won't even tell you what our heat index is when it hits that high, but it's hot. We're little crispy critters out here in Kansas right now. So, and it's humid. Right now we got some wicked humidity because the little bit of rain or the little bit of moisture we get, like, oh, you want a sauna? Yeah, we can go out and sweat out all those toxins. This is not tripping weather, people. Um, good thing I basically live in the basement where it's nice and cold and don't know what's going on outside if I don't leave my house. But anyway, so Woodstock 99, the night that I fell asleep and tried to rest. There was an all-night rave that was happening that night that we wanted to make sure we made it to. Who was playing that night was Chemical Brothers. We had, gosh, I think it was the weekend. It was 3 days. 3 days before my roommate Bill and I and my friend Gina went to Rome, New York to go to Woodstock 99. My roommate and I went and saw Chemical Brothers 3 nights before we left to go to Woodstock. And it was such a good concert. Oh my gosh, they were just, they were so good. I miss some of the things we would do in Chicago. We did a lot of raving. We did a lot of we had a good time. But anyways, so yeah, 3 days before we went to Woodstock 99, we got to see Chemical Brothers, and it was really funny because we're sitting there just standing and waiting for the next set to happen. And these 2 guys were sitting next to us, and they were hyped. Oh my gosh, they were rolling, and they were just so excited that they were there. They had drove down from Michigan to see the Chemical Brothers, which this was the ultimate concert of the year for them. Best concert ever. And I'm like, yeah, this is so cool. This is so good. We're going to see them in 3 days at Woodstock 99. And both of those guys looked at me and they just had this look of, I just beat their ultimate concert of the year by telling them we were going to go to Woodstock 99. But it was cool. Those guys were really cool. We had a really good time. Chemical Brothers rocked. They were great live. They were great there. They were great at Woodstock 99. So let me tell you about this venture. After we decided it's too hot to sleep in a tent and there's no wind, so it's just hot. It was a hot night. There's tents everywhere and there's people everywhere, and like at times you're not sure what the air around you was, if it was just the heat or if it was humid off of people, or at times it was just too much. Bill and I decided that we wanted to roll, and I had gotten Gina, my friend Gina, who, when I showed up at the tent, I don't know if I mentioned it, she really liked to do ecstasy. We got her into doing some ecstasy, and she wouldn't just take one roll. She'd take triple stacks. She had gotten a hold of some Rolexes, and she first took some, I think they were Blue Dolphins, and that was when we first started that day, and she didn't think they were working. So she found somebody and picked up some Rolexes. Well, they were triple stacks, and she'd never had triple stacks before. And so she took a triple stack, and she didn't think it was working, and so she took another triple stack. So this girl had ingested quite a bit of ecstasy. And when I made it back to the tent after being lost for 3.5 hours roaming around Woodstock 99, remember I found the showers. That's going to be important. She was rolled out. She's laying in her tent. And I remember walking up, and she stuck her head out, and she's like, KB, oh my God, I can't believe you're here. She's like, I really thought somebody would just take you and you go home with them and we never see you again. I'm not sure why this girl thought that I would just go off with some random people at Woodstock 99 and just go off and never look for them or see them again. Like, that's crazy to me when I think about that now, because, like, is that really what she thought I was? I mean, I get it. Like, it was strange to, like, 250,000 people and we're all fucked up and roaming around. Yeah, maybe okay. I would have been a little worried too. But I made it back. So we're sitting there, we're talking, and we're asking her, you want to come with us? We're going to go to the all-night raves in the airplane hangars. And she couldn't. She could barely lift her head up. She was laying there, and I asked her, well, she's like, she's like, KB, I'm just rolling too much. I'm too hard. I'm just rolling. I can't even. And I'm like asking her what she did, how much she took. And she's telling me, and I thought, oh God, I was a little nervous at that point in time to actually leave her in the tent by herself, rolling so hard. So we got her all set up with, we left her some little provisions of some whatever we had and lots of water. And so we decided we needed to find some more rolls. We needed to find something for Bill. So, because she only had one. Oh, I forgot to say that. Where we're sitting there, she pulls out one of the rolls, her last Rolex she has, and because that's when she's telling me the story that she had taken 2 that were triple stacks because she didn't feel the first one until the second one, I guess, had already, started hitting. So, she gave that to me. And Bill and I decided, well, we could either half it or we could go look for some more. So we're walking, and we get out on where it's tarmac. It's like a black top, and it's right over by the airplane hangar, and there's just a bunch of kids just sitting around. Nothing had happened yet, but you could tell they were setting up the airplane hangar, and we're sitting there, and Bill's like, we need to eat something, because, food was not the top priority on our list at that point in time, and we realized we hadn't eaten anything. I think all we brought was a massive amount of water. We brought granola bars. We brought, I don't even know what our protein source was. I think we brought beef jerky. Who else? I think that's all I remember we had. Maybe, I don't even know. So I remember us walking where like the food vendors were. And I remember looking at some of this food, and I remember looking at where they had the burritos. And this burrito was like a $12 burrito. And it wasn't even like as big as my head. Like, it was not, it was just kind of your average burrito. Maybe a little bit bigger, maybe the size of my arm. But like, I just remember looking at Bill, and I'm like, I am not that hungry. And so we went down. There was a Subway tent, and they had some reasonable prices for some Subway sandwiches. So we bought a Subway sandwich and a $4 bottle of water. I kid you not. Because there was water there at the watering holes, free water, before people decided to go smash the shit out of it all. So yeah, we bought a bottle of water, and we sat there because we figured probably need to eat before we started. Sitting there, and we're talking, and there was a couple, like a group of 5, I think, kids that sat down right next to us, and we're all just kind of sitting there talking. You could tell they were ravers. You could tell they were rave kids. They were all candied out, and they had their binkies, and they had their light toys and all their glow sticks. And so we're sitting. One kid had these pants that were made out of stuffed animals. That's what they were. They were all stuffed animals, and they were a pair of pants that were made out of that. And we're sitting there talking to him, and we're telling him, we were excited that we're there to get to see Chemical Brothers again, because we got to see him in Chicago, and told him the whole story. And this kid was so cute. He was pretty fried out, and like blonde-headed dreads, and he had a rag around his head, and he was a rave kid all the way. And him and his little girl comes up, and he's like, we have a present for you guys. Since you guys sat here and shared your space with us, we wanted to make sure that you guys had a good time tonight. And he goes, this is out of my personal stash. And he's like, this is an orange sunshine ecstasy pill. And gave it to my roommate Bill, and told him to have a fantastic time. And so we both sat there and looked at each other and praised the good fortune, and took our rolls. And the Chemical Brothers were so fucking good. Oh my goodness. It was just, you couldn't stop dancing. You couldn't just, it was so, they were just, to be in an airplane hangar, and all I remember, I don't remember much of it, but I remember just the lights and the whole place just looked, you couldn't tell where we were at. And then all of a sudden, like, there are 50 bazillion bodies in this airplane hangar, and there is no air. Like, there's no breeze. Like, that's the one thing I remember at Woodstock 99 too, is there was no breeze anywhere. There were no clouds. There was no shade. There was nothing. I mean, it was just, it was so hard. Roughest adventure I've ever gone. I'm glad I went. I'm glad I was a part of it. But man, it was every festival and every concert I've gone to ever since that, it's like a cakewalk. So we're in the airplane hangar, and we're just sweating bullets, like, just, It was hot, hotter than shit. So we walk out, and it's late. Can't even tell you. I think maybe about 3 or 4 in the morning. And we're sitting there just chilling. And this girl, I can't remember what her name was to save my life, but this girl, she's standing over there. Bill and I are facing each other and we're talking. And I can see her. And she's kind of just like creeping up on us. Now, this chick had like, she had long dark hair. I remember that. And she had dreads. But they weren't like consistent even dreads. They were like, she had one big dread hanging, like coming out of like the front right side of her head, and then she had other clusters. They were like clusters of dreads. They were matted. It looked like she'd never put a brush to her hair ever. Like, it was just pretty matted up and pretty gnarly, and she was pretty granolaed. And she comes walking up, and her eyes are just saucers, huge saucers. Just, you can't see any color in her eyes. And she was kind of she's kind of pale. She had this black hair with these dreads, and her eyes are just, she didn't look real to me at that point in time, but we're like, hi, can we help you? And she comes up, and she doesn't sit on her bottom. She has really thin legs, so she could squat down and have her feet still on the ground, where she's like crouched down. And she's like, hi. And we're like, hi, how are you? And she's like, I don't know. I need help. Bill's like, okay, how can we help you? And, I'm not tripping anymore. So I'm a little more coherent. I'm just rolling. And when I'm rolling, I can still, I can still function. And, so we're like, well, what can we do for you? She's like, so I can't find my friends that I came with. And I'm just looking at this girl, and I'm like, okay, well, do you know where you saw them last? And she's like, yeah, we were over by our tent. So I said, well, do you know where that's at? And she's like, no. She's like, I took some dancing condom acid that one of the guys had made, and I didn't think it was going to work. And when we were walking around, I decided that I didn't want to be around them anymore. And so I started walking off to go back to my tent. And I don't know exactly where my tent is or my friends. Do you think you guys can help me? Oh my God. Oh, I will never forget her. Like, the look on her face, like she legitimately had no clue. She didn't know where she was. Like, you could see the look of kind of a sheer panic, because I think at times during her little the dancing condoms that she didn't think was gonna work, wow, it worked. Yeah, that poor girl. So I look at Bill, and Bill looks at me, and I'm like, okay, well, let's just figure this out. And so we're like, well, we're going to walk with you until we walk and you see something familiar, okay? And so the girl, she was so appreciative. And she's like, okay, that would be really great. And so we're walking with her. And we're walking back our direction to our tent area, just so we could get her in tents and stuff where we were at, because we weren't anywhere near the campsites where we were at for the all-night rave. So we're walking back, and as we're walking with her, we're asking her questions like, do you remember what color your tent was? Do you remember if when you were walking down the pathway between all the tents, do you remember if you were on the right side of the road or if you were on the left? Just things like that. And so some of it she could answer, some of it she couldn't. And so we're walking, and we're just kind of talking to her, and she's like, so I really, really appreciate you guys, and this is so nice. She's like, I guess I just lucked out finding the nicest people, because she's like, not very many people here I think would actually take the time to walk me back and try to find my place for me while I'm all messed up. And I'm like, yeah, probably not. And she's like, so when we get back to my tent, like, why don't you guys like chill for a little bit, and like we can do some dust. And I'm like, she's like, angel dust. I don't snort like actual dust up my nose. It'll just be angel dust, like PCP. And I look at Bill, and Bill looks at me, and we're like, Well, yeah. Well, let's try to just get you back to your tent first, and then we'll figure out what we're gonna do from there, okay? And she was like, okay, I really, 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 really appreciate it. So we're walking, and we get to the med tent that's right at the corner of the street. We have to go down to the road area where the Italian flag is, because it's the purple road. Well, as we're going and we're walking, of course, the sun's starting to come up at this point in time. It's sunrise. And this girl's, when we're just sitting there talking, and I don't remember everything we talked about, but she looked like she'd been rolling around a bunch of dirt. She was just, from head to toe, was just looked real like she'd been in a bunch of dirt. And as we're walking, all of a sudden, she goes, "Oh my God, that's me!" And she takes off running. Bill looks at me, and I look at Bill, and he's like, "Okay." And then all of a sudden, she comes running back, and she is like, come with me, come with me, come with me. And so she brings us over, and she's like, you guys, I found it. This is me. And we're like, great. She's like, why don't you sit down? And I'm like, well, we need to go back to our tent so we can find our third party. Then we'll come back and find you, okay? And she's like, okay, because I really want my friends to meet you, because you guys brought me back. And we're like, okay. So we didn't think we'd ever see her again. Like, we left the tent and we went back, and we're trying to find Gina, and we find her, and she decides she wants to go to the beer tent because that's where she spent most of her time, because that girl could drink some beer. Let me tell you, that girl just could throw it back better than most guys that I know. And so she wanted to go to the beer tent. So Bill and I are kind of walking with Gina, and all of a sudden I can hear, KB, Bill, KB, Bill. And here she is. The girl, the dancing condom girl, tripped out on acid. The next morning, here she found us. And she drags all of her people from her tent over to us because she wanted them to meet us, because we were angels. We were able to help her, and we saved her. And they were all like, you guys could come back and we could sit down and have a session if you want. And I'm like, at that point in time, I look at Bill and I'm like, we need to go. I don't want to do any PCP right now. I mean, it's the second day. We're just now coming off of rolls, and I tripped all day long the night before, the day before, and I'm wrecked. So we go and tell Gina we're going to go to the showers, because I had found the showers. And so she's like, okay, cool. So we go get our stuff that we need, which is not very much, because we didn't really take a lot to Woodstock 99. Like, some people brought their whole bedroom. Like, we brought tents. I'm pretty sure we had sleeping bags. If we didn't have sleeping bags, we brought enough blankets to sleep on. Backpacks that maybe had enough clothes for 3 days. I don't even really know. All I know is that I did bring my contact case, because I had to take my contacts out because my eyes were sunburned. When I had been running around as the Binky Water Patrol girl, I had put my sunglasses on the top of my head because they were kind of caked with mud, and I didn't have time to clean them off. And so, because I didn't use my sunglasses, my eyes were sunburned, and so I had to take my contacts out. And so I had to wear my glasses the rest of the time at Woodstock, which, whatever, it's fine. I didn't mind. So we go back and we get what we need, and Bill's like, okay, where are the showers? And we, really, they were not as far away from where we were camping as I thought. It just seemed like a million miles when I was tripping, trying to find my way back when I stumbled across them. So, we have a towel. We've got our stuff. I have my sandals, because I'm not going to walk into the shower barefoot. No, couldn't pay me enough money. So we get up to the stalls where there's a guy's area on one side and there's a girl's area on the other, and there's kind of blocked off. There was some private shower area that actually had a curtain, or you could just go into these stalls with these herd of people that were trying to use this water. So we, dang it. I remember walking in, and I get to the door, and it's kind of a makeshift I don't even know how they put, I can't really remember much about it. I just remember walking in, and you walked in water up to your calves. And I remember looking around and thinking, if all these people are washing their bodies, what am I walking in? At that point in time, I really didn't care. I just really wanted to get under that water, and I had a lot of mud caked in my hair and my stuff and my face and everything. I just wanted to get that stuff washed off and then just get out of there. Because if I stood in there long enough thinking about what I was standing in to use these showers that a 50 bazillion people have been using, I was going to probably get sick. So it was get this water on, get cleaned as best as I can, and get the hell out of there. And that's what I did. And I remember walking out, and I remember standing there, and Bill's standing there, and he's like, that was the most disgusting shower I've ever taken in my entire life. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Luckily, we both had long hair at that point in time, and before we went to Woodstock 99, we had a friend who was a beautician. When we worked at Joe's Crab Shack in Chicago, during we had to work, we were working doubles so we could get enough tip money and stuff like that, so we could have money to go up there. I remember him coming to the store, or to the restaurant, in between my two shifts, and sitting there, and he had taken my hair, and he did, he rolled it, tight rolled them, he sectioned them and tight rolled them back, and then did put braids and everything. So, and Bill's was all done French ponytails, small ones. So our hair was up, which was a godsend, because I can't imagine what my hair would have been like if I would have kept it down. But yeah, the showers, they were gross. They were nasty. It's all big blur, but I found them, and I'll tell you, getting out of that made me feel so much better after with that water anyways. So after that, we go back to our tents. We're like, okay, now that we're kind of coherent and we can, like, we know what's happening around us instead of the circus that happens when you start tripping, let's go watch some bands, and let's go watch some. So I remember walking over to one of the side stages, or one of the stages, and we're just kind of standing there, and it was hot. There were no clouds. There was no shade. I remember walking around, like, they had, like, these art exhibits, and they were inside, kind of, but they were hot. Everything that was inside, it was hot because there's no breeze. And I can remember one point in time we'd gotten some water, and I had to sit down. I remember laying down in this art tent area and fell asleep on the cement for a while. And then getting up, we also laid down under this big, huge, like, trailer that would be on, like, a tractor or on a truck. We laid under there for a little bit and rested. And then I slept through Kid Rock. We were waiting to see Kid Rock come out. Was it Kid Rock? Wyclef Jean, I think, is where it started. Because I remember hearing Wyclef Jean. I was sleeping. I was super tired, and we were waiting for whoever the artist, I think it was Wyclef Jean that was coming out, to come out, and I needed to sit down. I had a blanket. We brought a blanket and stuff, and I sat down, and I laid down, and I went to sleep. And Bill stood over me in a crowd of people at Woodstock 99 while I was passed out on the ground, and he just kind of stood over me, and there was, I guess, a couple that was over by us that kind of stood on the other side to make sure that I didn't get trampled on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Wyclef Jean, and then Kid Rock was after. I slept through the whole entire thing. Yeah, I was exhausted. And then I remember getting up, and I just remember we just kind of walked around, and it was just a hard day. Because we were tired, we were hot, and I'm sure we were a little dehydrated, and just there were so many people, and it was just crazy. It was very surreal. I remember walking around and everything was so surreal. Gosh, we at one point in time were just sitting and resting, and I remember we were just watching people and talking about people. And these two girls were walking, and I could see them, and then all of a sudden this girl like starts screaming, and she squats down and like loses every bodily fluid in her system, from the bottom out the mouth, you name it. Like, and then I just remember seeing medic coming to her and putting her on a stretcher and taking her out, and it was just like, what the fuck did I just see? But it was hard. Like, the heat was really bad. 250,000 people at Griffiths Air Force Base, and it's not like there's it's a big bunch of grass. Like, it's Griffiths Air Force Base. There's blacktops. Like, it was a hard day. It was a hard day. We made it through that day. We did. I slept a lot. Whenever we'd stop, I'd sleep, and then we finally went back to the tents, and I remember laying there, listening to we could hear everything when we were at the tent. So I listened to a lot of the concert that was going on. I just can't tell you who, really. I wanted to get up Sunday morning, and I wanted to get up Sunday morning because I wanted to see Willie Nelson open one of the stages, just because it's Willie Nelson, and my dad would have loved hearing me come back and tell him that I got to see Willie Nelson at Woodstock 99. So we all crashed. Gina was drunk. What was really strange is Saturday night, you could feel it. You could feel, like, the Friday was fun because it was, it was new. It was Woodstock 99. Everybody was having a good time, and by Saturday night, you could feel there was a shifting in the air. People were drunk. People were, I don't know, like, the night of the all-night rave, when we were walking around, actually, a little bit earlier, we'll back up. No, that was Saturday. Or was that Sunday? No, that was Sunday. Okay, so the night of the all-night rave, we were walking around, and you could hear banging, you could hear whatever. And I remember looking around, and I'm like, what are those people? What's going on? What is that noise? And there's this big, huge bonfire, and around the bonfire are people. It was a big, huge drum circle is what it was. And I remember looking at my roommate. I'm like, what are they beating on? Like, what are the drums that they're using? Well, my roommate's like, well, look at them, KB. What do you think they are? I realized at that point in time they had taken the trash cans that were all around that area in the food area, and that's what they were beating on. They were drumming on all these trash cans and beating the crap out of them. By the next morning when we were walking around, like, it was just bent up metal. Like, it was unbelievable. And then just the trash everywhere. I can remember walking was it Friday when I was just really tripped out? I remember walking around, and I remember I felt like all I was walking on were plastic bottles. And I can remember I couldn't see very well where I was walking. I remember asking Bill, I'm like, dude, what am I stepping on? I feel like it's all over. And he's like, they're bottles. I'm like, bottles? What kind of bottles? They're beer bottles. Because Bud had Budweiser, I believe they were Budweiser bottles, had decided that, the beer that they would have out there weren't going to be glass, which that's smart. That's very smart. But it was going to be plastic bottles. And what they didn't take into account for is that these idiots that were going to be out there aren't going to throw these bottles away. They're going to actually beat the crap out of a trash can, and everything's going to be everywhere. So I always felt bad for the cleanup crew, because I thought, dang, that's a lot of cleanup. But we did, the night before, Thursday night when we first got there and we were rolling, we did meet a kid who was on the cleanup crew. And he was telling me that's what he did, that when local concerts and stuff come around, that he's on a list where they'll call him to come and be on the cleanup crew. They get a certain amount of money to do it, and then, like, ground score, whatever you find. And so when he got the call for Woodstock 99, he's like, how could I turn this down? He's like, we've just got here, and I've already found a bunch of ground score just by going and cleaning up places. And so we walked around with him for a while we rolled, and we ran into this girl. Her name was Hope. She was a nurse. and her last name sounded like marijuana. Like it was like Hope, whatever her name was, but I could have swore it was marijuana, so that's all we called her, Hope Marijuana. And she was so sweet. She was a nurse, and she was rolling. She wanted to come and experience Woodstock 99, but she realized that since she was a nurse that she could do more than just come and experience. And so everywhere she went, she had her medic bag with her that had just different stuff in it that would need. She actually had a testing kit in her medic bag that anything that her friends had, they would test them before that. And I thought that's the best harm reduction I've ever heard. Like, that was great. She was so sweet, such a sweet girl, and smart. We sat there and got to watch the Jimi Hendrix laser light show with her and her friends, and they were lovely people. They were just lovely people. So yeah, that was Hope. So the Saturday night, like I said, by the time we got back to the tents and we decided that we were going to crash, I told Bill, I said, hey, let's do this. Let's get up in the morning. Let's tear down the tent. Let's pack everything up. Let's take it out to the truck. And then let's come back in. I want to see Willie Nelson and then anybody else who was on that last day. And so Bill's like, okay, that sounds good. So we got up early the next morning, breaking everything down. Bill starts taking things out to the truck. And Gina and I are like trying to load other things up. And so Bill takes his first load out. Bill comes back. Bill's like, here, I bought this. We might need it. Hands me a folded up foil. He had bought some Stars and Stripes acid on the way back. Okay, cool. Boom, in my pocket. Bill takes another load out. Bill comes back. Bill's like, here. And he hands me a pipe and 3 grams of opium. He's like, I couldn't pass him up. The guy was sitting there with his towel, with his blanket, and he had all these different pipes that he had. And he's like, these are specially designed for opium because there's a cross on the bottom. They're made out of stone, and there's a cross engraved on the bottom of it, so it elevates the hash what you put in there, so the flame will go down and under the way it's designed, and it goes down under and heats up where the cross area is, so it doesn't ever really touch that. The flame doesn't ever really touch it. And so that was like, great, stick it in my pocket. We're walking around, we're doing some things, and Bill's like, here, it's a bag of weed. I'm like, okay, great, stick it in my pocket. So we're sitting there and we got everything packed up. We're taking our last load out. Bill had a Dodge truck, and we all drove in the cab when we were up there. But when we finally got everything packed in the back, Gina jumped in the back of that truck, and Gina passed out. And Bill and I were like, okay, well, she's like, just leave me here. If I wake up, I'll come in. If not, well, I'll be here when you guys are ready to go. And I'm like, I'm not just going to leave her out here. Like, that's crazy. So Bill and I are just kind of talking, and he opens up the truck door, and he gets in it, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and I'm like, we can't do this. And he's like, just for a little bit. I'm like, okay. We get in the truck, we roll up the windows, we shut the cab. He turns on the truck and turns on the air conditioning. Needless to say, I didn't get to see Willie Nelson at Woodstock 99 that Sunday morning. Because after sitting in that truck, when the air conditioning was on, we knew at that point in time, it was time to get the hell out of Rome, New York, and out of Griffith Air Force Base. So, we tell Gina what we were doing, and she's like, yeah. She's like, I'm going to ride back here until we get to the casino where we're going to stop and get whatever we need, and then she would get into the cab with us. And I'm like, okay. So we get going, and we're following other cars out, and it took a long time. And as we're slowly creeping along in this line of cars getting out of Woodstock 99, I'm looking around and I see people carrying something. And it looks like wood, planks of wood. And I look at Bill and I'm like, dude, what are those people, what are they carrying? Like, what do they have? It looked like wood that was painted. And I'm like, did we miss something? Like, what's the deal? And then he looks at me and he goes, KB, you're going to be really upset when I'm about to tell you what they've got in their hands. And I'm like, what? He's like, it's the wall. And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, it's the wall. So I don't remember in the very first part of this if I told you that when we got to Griffith Air Force Base, what they had done is Woodstock is they had put a wall of plywood all the way around the area and had artists come in and paint murals on this wall, the wooden wall that was around Woodstock. It's really cool. Like, really cool pictures. I'm going to post some of the pictures that I do have eventually on the website, on our site, so you guys can see some of the stuff. If you guys have, some of you haven't been watching the YouTube when I have put some of those pictures up there, I'll post them on the website so you can see some of the stuff. But there was a wall around Griffith Air Force Base where we were camping out and stuff, and he's like, it's the wall. I was so distraught. I looked over, and all you could see was the skeleton of the wall. Was people had tore it down, ripped pieces, and I'm just like, oh my God. And so, remember the Stars and Stripe acid? Yeah. Well, so we took that morning because it was going to be such a long drive to get out of Griffiths. So we took the Stars and Stripe acid. So while we're sitting there driving and we're tripping, all of a sudden, we're at a standstill. Bill puts his truck in park, opens up his door, jumps out of the vehicle. And I'm like, what is happening? What are you doing? All of a sudden, I see him reach down, grab something, throw it in the back, hops in the truck, closes the door, and I hear the guy behind him yell at him and say, dude, if you wouldn't have gotten that and jumped out and picked that up, I was about to. And he's like, I got you something, KV. And I'm like, what did you get? I turn around and I look. He almost threw it on Gina. But he missed her. Almost. I mean, barely. And I look, and there's a piece of plywood that is yellow and has blue, and there's a little bit of red. Bill had picked up a piece of the wall that he saw laying down on the ground and decided that I needed to have a piece of the wall. And so to this day, I still own a piece of the Woodstock 99 wall at Rome, New York. And it's probably one of my favorite possessions I actually do have. It took us 2.5 hours just to get out of Griffith and get to the casino. Driving down Main Street in Rome, New York took forever. And at this point in time, like when we're leaving, people were coming in. Now, my friend Gina, when she had went through the gates the first day, they were supposed to check our stuff, pat us down, and then rip the ticket, right? Well, they did us, but they didn't rip her ticket. So when Gina went out, we decided to eat at a Binnigan's or an Applebee's or something like that. I don't exactly remember what it was, but when we were sitting there and we were talking to the waitress that was there, she had expressed that her and her friend were wanting to go out there on, this last day, and when she got off work, and my friend Gina looks at her and she's like, I got a ticket that can get you in if you want it. And the gal's like, yeah. So the gal bought the ticket for like $50, I think is what she charged her. and they went to Woodstock 99 Sunday night, which they wouldn't had to actually buy a ticket or even use a ticket, because by that time they had broke down the wall and the gating area that was around it, and people were just walking in. They were just walking in that last day. That's also why there was so much chaos, because by that last day, it was just, people were spent, people were tired, even the people who were working, and you just knew it was getting unruly. Like I said, Sunday morning when we were walking out, we were packing things up, like you could just feel it. There was something in the air that just wasn't exactly right, and you just knew something was going to happen. So after we got done eating and we got on the road, and we went to Youngstown, Ohio, because that's where Gina was from. And we stayed with her parents. And so I remember getting there, and we went downstairs, and first of all, my friend Gina's parents had the most amazing shower ever. I stood in the shower for, I don't know, probably like 30 minutes, wasted all their water. But there were jets. It's a walk-in, and it's huge. And there's jets, like, all on the walls. And so there's, like, sideway jets. And there's, like, it was the best shower I've experienced ever. And then I took all the braids out of my hair, because I had to wash that nasty stuff out. And felt so good. And I remember walking out after I'd taken my shower, and both Gina and Bill were sitting there watching the TV. And it's live coverage. It's live coverage, and it's a fire. And I remember looking at them. I'm like, what are we watching? And Gina looks at me. She goes, KB, that's Woodstock 99. And I remember just looking at the both of them, and I'm like, thank God we left when we did. Like, I'm glad we didn't stay. Like, I don't know exactly what happened up to, but one of the things when we walked in, you were not to have anything that was an open flame, no candles, no cooking butane, like the stove ovens, like not ovens, the stoves and stuff. You couldn't have. They wouldn't let you bring any of that stuff in. But what they don't tell you is that there was a group there. I don't even remember what they were for, but they were handing candles out. So, I don't know if it was going to be a memorial thing or what the heck it was going to be, but, like, they handed candles out. Like, so, watching Woodstock 99 burn, like, I was shocked, but I wasn't exactly shocked, needless to say. And then the next morning we get up and we drove back to Chicago, and that was our experience of Woodstock 99. I'm sure I've left out a bunch, and I'm sure throughout my conversations with you on this podcast, when you get to hear me ramble on, you'll hear other things that will come out about Woodstock, because sometimes the memories come up and I'm like, oh yeah, this one time. But that is the continuation and the finale of Woodstock 99, the best that I can remember. So I hope you enjoyed that story. I always like talking about Woodstock 99. It was hardest thing I ever did in my life, I won't lie, but I'm glad I went. I'm glad I got the experience, and it's really fun to be how many years later, and I'm in a group on Facebook of it's Woodstock 99 Facebook group, and it's fun to see all these pictures and stuff that people post, and listening to some of the stories. There's this other podcast that I like to listen to, and that's what it's about. It's about Woodstock 99, and they get people on there that they've had some of the musicians that were there, they've had some of the promoters. It's really kind of cool. So like I said, for years I just didn't know if it was real or not. Like, just didn't know if did I go? Did I really go? The only person that could sit and share stories with me was Bill. And then next thing I know, like, the documentaries, quote unquote, came out, and like it all just comes flooding back. So it's really cool. Glad I got to experience that. Thanks for sitting and listening to me chat about it. So I don't know. Let's talk about some things, friends. I would like to remind you that, if you really enjoyed the podcasts and you really enjoy DMT World and you really like to be in our Discord and enjoy what's going on, it takes a lot to run all these things. It takes time. The staff that we have that helps us, they do this all voluntarily. Nobody gets paid for any of this. Nobody that's involved with this gets paid for anything. The website is funded by you guys, by donations. And if you're new and you don't know about this, you know, that we have a Patreon. It is patreon.com/DMT World. There are 2 tiers. There's a merchant tier. There's a psychonaut tier. The merchant tier covers, gives you the ability to post products, legal products in our marketplace to let you sell things. And that's a $5 a month pay. A donation tier, and then we have a psychonaut tier, which is $8 a month. What this covers is you have an ability to create your own groups. You have the ability to be a merchant. You have in our marketplace, you get the access to the channels in our Discord that are psychonaut only channels, and those are like extractions and mycology and a bunch of other stuff. Also, with this psychonaut donation, you also get some free stickers, and you get a necklace that we send to all of our psychonauts. And you also will get put into our secret psychonaut giveaway group that is on the site. The only people that get access to that and get to participate in that are our psychonaut donators. So you want to help keep the lights on and keep everything up and running and keep the community going and growing, you can help by donating to our Patreon. That is patreon.com/DMT World. Merchant or psychonaut status, you can upgrade your accounts too. So I will let you know we do everything by hand here. So if you go on and you donate, once it gets verified and through, then we will go in by hand and upgrade your account. So just bear with us, because we like to do this physically. So there are no bots. There are no bots in DMT World. I see people try to say this all the time. I just want to make sure you're not a bot. There are no bots, guys. There's no bots. If there are bots, we get them before they do anything or try to get into groups and stuff. Also, there's no outside advertising. The only advertising that goes on within DMT World is DMT World advertising. That means things from our marketplace that people who are merchants, that's advertised. They can advertise their things. We can share their stuff. And then the other stuff is DMT World. There is no outside financing from advertisers or anything. Nobody gets your data. Nobody collects any of that stuff. So like just the benefits of that alone, that's why there's no bots and algorithms that are pushing that. Everything is done by us in the community. I need you to understand that again. But if you would like to donate to us, that is how you can donate some money. There is also an option on there that you can donate whatever you want to. If you're not wanting to sign into a monthly thing, or you want to do a yearly, there are other ways to donate whatever you would like. So that is a possibility. Merch store. We do have a merch store. It is our DMT World Spring merch store. Also, there's always, I'm trying to put some new things in there, get some new stuff going. Check that out. I'm always trying to post on the website what is in the merch store and a link to it. So that is what I've got to tell you on that front. Let's see. I would like to tell you about this new thing that's about to happen. So there is a new program, a new series that I'm working on that is called KB's Karavan. And basically it is a video blog of me and going out and meeting people in the community. We are going to start our first shoot this in September. We're going to be videoing our first episodes. My camera person and I in September, we will be heading to Ann Arbor, Michigan, to the Entheofest. I don't know why that tripped me up. Basically, this is what it is. It's a festival about plant medicines and mushrooms, and they've been doing a lot with their activism up there. Like, it's amazing, and I'm gonna go up there and see what this is all about. There's going to be speakers, and there's going to be some art installations and some just some really neat things that are happening up there. I will go ahead and I will post the link to this if anybody else is interested or is in the area. I do know of another person in our community that lives in Ann Arbor and is going to be attending this as well. He mentioned that the other day. But again, this is on September 17th at 1:11 p.m. At the, I don't know, DIAG. That's what that says. The address is 913 South University Avenue in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We're going to take off on the 16th here. My camera person and I are going to jump the Amtrak, and we're going to take that Amtrak all the way up to Ann Arbor. We're going to have a layover in Chicago, and we're going to videotape all this. And you guys are going to get to be on this journey with us and get to see it. We're also going to get to meet a person that is in our community while we're up there as well. And it's just going to be a really cool time. And it's called KB's Caravan. If this is something you'd like to help with, I do have a GoFundMe page that helps. In fact, I got enough donations with the GoFundMe to this point to be able to get my Amtrak ticket to get me up to Ann Arbor and back. So I thank you to those that did donate to this cause. It really does help. So that is our next thing that will be happening, and it will be video, so you guys will get to watch. You get to watch what we go do, and it'll be fun. So it'll be the first time you ever see KB in like person, I guess. So, which is going to be really, really hard because I don't like to see myself on video either. But whatever. It's a complex that I'll get over. It's fine. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to touch base. If you were wanting to know how to get to our merch store, you can put in DMT-world-2 creator-spring.com. Or you can go on the website and you can find it there. And I think this is about where I'm going to wrap this up. It was fun. I really do enjoy these. I wish I had more time to dedicate myself to this. If I could do this on the daily for you guys, I would do that. But I do have some more. I have a couple more interviews that are scheduled. And that's another thing. If anybody is interested in wanting to get on and be a guest on the Rambling Rabbit, you can send me an email to kb@dmtworld.net, or you can get on Discord and you can find me under HappyKB, or you can get on the website and find me at HappyKB, and you can let me know, hey, you want to be on the show, and we can set your time. The only requirements to be on the show is you have to have a Discord, because we do all the recording in a private Discord server. But if you have a phone and you got a mic, we can do an interview. So I'd be happy. Anybody, just reach out to me. Again, it's kb@dmtworld.net. Other than that, again, push the like. Get the subscribes, spread this word. Let's get this out. I would like more people to know what we're doing and be involved, and this is what we're doing now. DMT World is not just our community. It's our community, and all the other communities are out there. We're all doing the same thing. We're all doing this for the same reason. So, with that being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your week, and keep ascending, friends.